Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me in tonight's live broadcast, where we talk about the state of our nation. And in tonight, we are going to talk about the state of security challenges or insecurity, as the case may be, in Nigeria and particularly in the Southeast. Before today, a lot of people believe that in the Southeast, that when Nnamdi Kanu is being released, that the security situation in the Southeast will be brought to check. And all those things that have been happening, both the criminals who are parading themselves as ipob supporters or Nnamdi Kanu supporters or Biafra agitators, that once Nnamdi Kanu is released, that he is going to make sure he stops all those things. And not only in the Southeast, like the report that came in today, this one is from Daily Trust, 614,939 Nigerians killed, 2.2 million adopted in 1 year. This is from the National Bureau of Statistics, that 614,939 Nigerians were killed, 2.2 million adopted. This is outrageous. There is no country that you will see something like this. No, never. No country at all that you will see something like this. So, in the midst of this, remember that Southeast governors at the time, they met, they said they want to move for Kanu's release, because if Kanu is not released, that security situation in the Southeast will not be okay. So I'm surprised to hear from the governor of Anambra State, Sir Chukwuma Soludo. Soludo said that releasing Nnamdi Kanu is not going to bring the insecurity challenges into check. So I'm very, very surprised to hear Soludo saying, something like this. Nnamdi Kanu's release may not end Southeast security challenges. So we are going to analyze the stance of Soludo. But no matter what his stance is, releasing Nnamdi Kanu, heaven and earth knows that it is going to bring, insecurity challenges in the Southeast to check. And people will live free life when this man will be released. So everybody is now surprised today when Soludo said that the security challenges in the Southeast will not change, when Nnamdi Kanu will be released. So it's part of the things we are going to deal with today. Please stay with me. This live program, What's Your Data? It what your everything. So we are going to analyze the deep things about Soludo's revelation. Do you think Soludo is right to what he said? Well, stay with me in this video. Take a look at this song while we come back to continue this program. Enjoy. All right, thanks for joining us in tonight's program. And let us go straight to what Chukwuma Soludo said. Let us analyze it. Let us see the truth in what he said and the lies in what he said. So what is actually the exact statement he made? He said Nnamdi Kanu's release may not end Southeast insecurity. Now, he is saying this at the point when everything is just getting set, where we're in a situation where the government is trying to release Nnamdi Kanu. And they are saying that the insecurity situation in the Southeast, we have been able to realize that if Nnamdi Kanu is being released, that this thing will stop. But here is a governor from the Southeast region, Chukwuma Soludo, saying that this thing is not going to, bring the insecurity situation in the Southeast to end. I am surprised. Are you not surprised about this? Now, let me tell you what Soludo is planning to do. Yes, and that is why I titled this live broadcast that Soludo is planning indirectly to stop the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Yes, he's planning indirectly, because if he's not planning indirectly to stop the release of Nnamdi Kanu, he's not going to make that statement. Now, Soludo is planning to set up a security outfit called Udogache. He's trying to set up a security outfit called Udogache. Udogache meaning there will be peace, something like that, okay? Now, Soludo have exhausted his tenure. Soludo is handing over next year, either he like it or not. because I believe that the Indian number is not pleased with his governance. Now, at the end of your tenure, after you must have finished it, you are trying to set up a security outfit. So the security outfit Soludo want to set up, what is it for actually? Security outfit, is it to rig election or what? Because I'm trying to ask, this is just the end of your tenure. Why is it that you have not been able to set up a good security outfit? They said you, Soludo have set up little security, whether it's vigilante, I don't know. But he said he want to set up another security outfit again called Udogache. And as he was planning that, he's now making a statement that releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop Southeast security. Now, what are his stance? To be honest, he said that a lot of people have hijacked Biafra agitation, that if you release Nnamdi Kanu today, that it will not change anything. I agree with him that a lot of people have hijacked the Biafra agitation because of the absence of Nnamdi Kanu, right? I agree on that basis. But saying that releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not change anything, when his absence is making people to do all sort of things, that is a great deception. A great deception, because I'm yet to understand what Soludo stands for. Why is he doing this? Because time without number, I saw Southeast governor parading everywhere that they want to release Nnamdi Kanu. They are begging. So that statement means to me, I don't know about you, that statement means to me that this man never wanted Nnamdi Kanu to be released. Despite what Nnamdi Kanu said in court, you also hear what he said, that Southeast governors are profiting from these security challenges going on in Nigeria. So if Southeast governors are profiting from these security challenges, and here is Soludo trying to set up another security outfit, and he is saying that releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not change anything. Have you seen how everything is going? Listen to Nnamdi Kanu first, so that we understand what he said on this court premises. It's very important.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We are still on your same outfit.
Yes.
What's the problem? Why?
They didn't give me any outfit.
They didn't give any outfit. That's rude. You don't do that.
And they're doing it because I'm in DSS. That's why if I said no idiots can try this rubbish, and they know it very well. They know it very well. And I suspect that some people in government are complicit. They are making money with insecurity. They are making money with it. They know now the Kanu is outside. In 2 minutes, this nonsense will stop. Who is the idiot? Who is the bagger? That will speak when I'm talking. Who is the fool? Who is the idiot? I ask. That I give an order in the east, and any idiot will counter it. Who is the bastard? I'm asking you. Nobody can.
Sir, are you
I'm Nnamdi Kanu. Who is the idiot?
No, don't.
Can you No. What is it?
Can you tell us the ongoing killings in the east in the name of IPOB? What is your stand on that?
Anybody involved in any form of violence or insecurity in the southeast in the name of IPOB is wrong, and they know it.
All right. So you heard Nnamdi Kanu well, right? That it is because of his detention that is making all these insecurity challenges in the southeast to persist. That if he comes out, that just in 2 minutes, you know, when he means in 2 minutes, he means as quick as possible. That is what that sentence means. That when he comes out, just in 2 minutes, that everything will stop. But I am surprised. So I really want people to make me understand. If you know Soludo very well, I want you to make me understand on the comment section there. What do you think is Soludo doing? What do you think that made this man to make such statement that Nnamdi Kanu's release may not end the Southeast insecurity. Now, I told you that the content of what he said is that a lot of people have hijacked Biafra agitation, that if Nnamdi Kanu come out, it will not make a different, it will not just change anything at all. And this is in the midst where, almost the whole country is facing security challenges. So what has Nnamdi Kanu, not releasing Nnamdi Kanu, to do with stopping insecurity? So if he is saying that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, that it will not stop insecurity challenges, the question now is this. So if Nnamdi Kanu is not released, will this stop insecurity? If Nnamdi Kanu is not released, will it now stop insecurity? Since Soludo is saying releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop insecurity. Reminding you that today, as of today, the National Bureau of Statistics says 614,937. This is getting to 1 million people that have been killed just in 1 year in Nigeria. 2.2 million people have been adopted just in 1 year. This is insane. Just in 1 year. In 1 year, 2.2 million something have been adopted. Now, today I made a video about another report from the National Bureau of Statistics that 2.2 trillion have been paid as ransom. 2.2 million have been paid as ransom. So these things are not just things that we should smile at, or we should smile at. Now, why the detention of Nnamdi Kanu is getting me angered every day, I will tell you now. Now, listen to
everyone.
This army officer.
You need to come on board. Boko Haram should lay their arms unconditionally and be accepted in the community. Opportunities are out there for them. They can be rehabilitated. An ex-Boko Haram stands having laid his arms and comes back, turns his way away from his negativity. He stands to be a president of this country. He stands to aspire to any position in this country. Why is he wasting his time when he cannot even deliver?
A very well-known leader in this country said that any attempt to attack and fight insurgency is an attack on the North. So, when you have such huge political considerations, there are difficulties. I mean, Buhari said that in the newspaper. General Buhari said that.
Now, Soludo is in this country, right? He's a governor. He knows that even as deadly as Boko Haram is, as deadly as all these terrorists, both the herdsmen and so on and so forth, as deadly as they are begging them to come and join army, that they will become president, they will become this. Soludo is watching them, right? Soludo was there as, he has handed over as a CBN governor. He's not the CBN governor then again. When Buhari said that fighting against the North or fighting against Boko Haram is a fight against the North, Soludo was there. He understood what is going on. He knows what is going on. But here is a man that appeal court have discharged, acquitted. Federal government refused to leave him. They are dragging him up and down, going to court up and down. Soludo is now telling them that, come, if you release that, my brother, it will not stop the insecurity challenges. And the reason why they want to release Nnamdi Kanu is because of insecurity challenges in the Southeast. Because if not because of even the insecurity challenges in the Southeast, nobody will even talk about Nnamdi Kanu again. Nobody will talk about it. We are not supporting insecurity. We are against that. We want it to stop. That is why we are calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So we are yet to understand the stance of Soludo, saying that they should not release Nnamdi, or saying that if Nnamdi Kanu is released, it will not stop insecurity. There are a lot of, bad things going on in Nigeria, and we should not have a governor who will stand against. I know that they are standing against the release of Nnamdi Kanu. There is no two ways about that. This is what we know. But coming out openly to say that, it means that there is something Soludo has been doing underground. It means he has been doing some things underground. So I don't know what Soludo meant by that. But we must force him to come out and tell us where he stands. Did he stand that Nnamdi Kanu should not be released? What did he do? What did Nnamdi Kanu do? What did he do that others have not done and they pardoned them? The Boko Haram who have been bombing churches, doing all sorts of things, they are releasing them. They have just favoring them, giving them favor. But your brother has been in detention. They started dragging him down the Kanu 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And here we are today. Soludo is telling us that if they release Nnamdi Kanu, it will not change anything. Soludo should just mind what he said, especially in public. Because a lot of people will be seeing it in two angles now. No, this man should not be released. What did he do? Did any court find him guilty? What did he do? So, this is challenging actually. It is challenging. So, before we go further, I really want to make you understand the rate of killing, kidnapping in Nigeria and how many people have been kidnapped so far. And the worst thing is that this video you're about to watch, the worst thing about this thing is that all these people who are collecting these ransoms, the governor of Kaduna is there, giving them amnesty, telling them to come back, they will give them house. The people who have collected 2.2 trillion through kidnapping, no. The people who have done everything against the people. Stay with me. We have a lot to discuss tonight too. Just let's look at this Arise TV analysis, how Nigerians pay 2.2 trillion in 1 year. And the people they are paying this money to, they are abandoning them. They are putting them in military. They are putting them into all kinds of security outfit. They are entering soldier. They are entering police. And Soludo is telling you that if they release Nnamdi Kanu, it will not stop insecurity. I'm just looking at him and I'm laughing. Stay with me. Let's get to hear this video.
The National Bureau of Statistics has released a report indicating that Nigerians paid a total of 2.23 trillion naira as ransom in 12 months between May 2023 and April 2024. It states that the money was paid by households affected by kidnapping incidents, highlighting the threat posed by criminal activities in the country. According to the Bureau's latest Crime Experience and Security Perception Survey report, an estimated 51.89 million crimes were recorded across Nigerian households. In the Southeast region reported the least crime with 6.18 million incidents. Of those affected by kidnapping, 65% were forced to pay ransom to secure the release of victims. The average ransom paid was 2.67 million naira, contributing to the total of 2.23 trillion naira paid by Nigerians to criminals during the 12 months. All right, Rufai, 2.23 trillion naira paid as a ransom, at least captured by this report. There might be someone captured.
At this point, is it safe to say we should start leading kidnapping as part of economic activity on our GDP? I think it has gone to that point. Because calculate a budget of 48.something trillion, divide 2 trillion by that. You see, it's a sizable part. And that's what kidnapping has become because of the failure of our political leadership. And it rests on leadership. Chinua Achebe wrote a book in the 80s. He said the problem of Nigeria squarely is that of a leadership problem. And that's just what we are facing. Over 2.6 million paid averagely in a country for kidnapping, in a country where people cannot be paid most of the time the minimum wage. That's the sad reality by some of the states. They've made the announcement. What's the execution like? Even government, have they paid most of the parasites the minimum wage? Those are the questions on ground. You now look at the rural areas that used to be the bastion of peace. You have more kidnapping cases there. So when you now break it down by the regions, you see that the Northwest takes a huge toll of all of this insecurity. Over 14 million cases. Then you have, the North Central. Then you now have the Southeast. So out of the 6 geopolitical zones, 3 regions to 4 regions, most of the regions are inundated with heavy security challenges. That's a failure of leadership. That's why the president has been mute about it. If it was a good report now, Mr. Baron Anuga would be the first to react. As regards this, he's not reacted. We have not heard anything from them. Ayo, now go one step further and extrapolate the figures. You see that over 51 million cases of crime reported in a population of over 200 million. So that means 1 in every 4 Nigerians probably faced one level of crime or the other. You now go to the figures. You now see that there's even more on the rural areas, about 26.2 million, as against the urban areas, 26.5 million. You now see murders, over 1.6 million. In urban areas, you now look at it in the rural areas, over 500,000. Killings here and there. And when you look at
it's
all
not
of
a
this,
country
it's a failure. So what are the solutions, Ayo? Number one, more access to data. Digitalization. We need to be able to digitalize our security infrastructure. That's why I'm happy with what Olusegun has done with this, all the touch points of information in this hub, this immigration hub. But secondly, they also talked about reportage of cases. Can the police even now make an app where people can report? Even if they make it, what's the viability of it? We should look at that. Yeah. Because most of the people, to go report the case is very difficult. Thirdly, people must also take personal measures, vigilance. Can we make available mass, building of security cameras so that people can be able to install them in their homes? Just the other day, there was a case of an inside job. A security man which has been in a house for 15 years let some people in to come and steal in the house. If not for CCTV camera, we would not have gotten it.
True.
So you can also do that within your means. Also, we need to be able to invest in the police force, invest in their welfare, get more police on the ground. Less than 500,000 police officers for a population of over 200 million people has been said to be very paltry. That's why the move for state police is also imminent. Most importantly, we now need to go back to the data set of our NIN and beavers. Why is it that kidnappers, after you register your phone numbers on NIN, they cannot still track them? So a lot must be done. That process must be made to be very transparent. Most importantly, we also need government will. Government will to be able to tackle all of this. All these security projects might have been highlighted, but are those monies actually spent? You also need to be able to face the case of street lights, because crime thrives in darkness. We need to light up more areas. You can see the viability of the 3rd Mainland Bridge since it's been properly lit up. But most parts of Lagos and other parts of the country are not properly lit up. So these and many other things we should be thinking of now. But it's a damning report.
All right, Dr. Batsi.
The National Bureau of Statistics, to the best of my knowledge, is a government agency that collates data. And now the same National Bureau of Statistics is more or less indicting government. The primary function of government, we're told in the Constitution, is to ensure the security and welfare of the people. If about a quarter of the Nigerian population, how many are we in this environment? They put the figure variously within the range of 200 billion. And if over 51.88 million have been victims of crime, then it means that government is failing in terms of its original function. That is the major import of the report by the National Bureau of Statistics. Now, the categories of crime that they have indicated include abduction, phone theft, rape. In other words, the report is saying Nigerians are not safe and the security agencies are not functioning and government is not living up to expectation, by way of summary. Now, the other details in that report even indicates that there's more crime in rural areas than in urban areas. It also says that, look, there's more crime in the Northwest, which has over 14 million reported cases this year alone, followed by the Northeast, over 7 million, followed by the North Central, over 7 million, and maybe 6 point whatever, in the Southeast. Well, they didn't look at all the geopolitical zones. However, it says perception survey. So we have to, again, look at the method that has been done, because it's about perception. Whether it's perception or it is raw data that they are working upon in a country where there is usually no record of anything in a categorical manner, but perception, the word that they have used, perception survey, anybody living in this country with basic common sense knows that safety is a problem. Security is a challenge. The third point that is made in that report is that, one, if people are stealing phones, people are asking for ransom, it means that it's something wrong with the way the society is organized. And there is a very serious case of poverty. And that is part of the problem. Another issue that report pointed out is lack of confidence in the security agencies. Even when people are abducted and they know that they should go to the security agencies, where the report says they don't go because they believe that police intervention will not yield any result. Here, therefore, we deal with a dilemma whereby there is complete lack of confidence, more or less, in the security apparatus in the country. If the people think police will not bring any meaningful action, then it means that the people are alienated from the same people, namely government, that is supposed to protect them. The report goes on further to say that on the average, response time is less than 30 minutes. Well, I query that part of the report, but they are saying it's perception survey. We have had many cases in this country where response time exceeded 2 days, exceeded 3 days. Now, I hope that this report will function as a wake-up call for the security agencies and particularly for government to realize that a country where people are abducted and families have to pay not less than 2.7 million on the average to get their people rescued from those who have arrested them or abducted them.
All right, let me stop the analysis of Arise News there. All right, as we go forward, I'm going to open up my line and you can also join us live through the link there on the comment section. Let us go straight to the point. The reason why I allow you to watch this video for almost 9 minutes is because every now and then, they will be telling you that there is insecurity in the Southeast, right? But the National Bureau of Statistics now exposed that the Northeast, number 1, Northwest, number 2, Middle Belt, number 3, before even Southeast. But every day they are shouting security in the Southeast. Anyway, our lines are open. You can call in. Let's have the first caller here. Anyway, our lines are. Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Hello, Mr. Kocha. It is me, Madam Origin. How are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. I've even recognized your number, so I know anytime you call.
Okay, not a problem. You are the one that we, the people, the indigenous people of that contraption needs to thank for continuing to shine light on what has behooved us, that the whole world have kept quiet. Everybody have stuck their head in the sand and pretending they don't know what is going on. And I address Mr. Soludo, the governor of Anambra State. In fact, you see, what makes me angry is whenever issue of Nnamdi Kanu is called up, you see these people start hyperventilating about insecurity. Why would issue of Nnamdi Kanu start in the message or discussion about insecurity? Why?
That is a big question.
You read all the things that all the areas that are high in insecurity. Now, my question to Soludo, Soludo, are you not ashamed? The whole governor, somebody that is in dungeon for the last 4 years, you're still hyperventilating about him. A man that the whole world has said, no, he didn't do anything. He's just agitating like I am. Like I'm agitating. If I was in Nigeria now, I would even come find where I live. In fact, I even told my police around here, in case, because your terrorism, they fear me. Soludo is the representative of the Nigeria government, that it has been announced from every indication that Nigeria government sponsors terrorism. Example, Soludo, on Christmas Eve, there was a massacre in Plateau State. Why I'm telling you this is to tell you, you are responsible for, in fact, since you're calling Nnamdi Kanu for the whole Southeast, I'm holding you responsible for the whole Southeast. If anything happened to Southeasterners, Soludo, it is on you, because you are, for your state, you are responsible for the safety of your people. How many security outfits have you formed, including hunters? Even if we don't know, we don't see, we are here. You see, inside that your cocoon, the coven where you people are, we are seeing everything from where we are. So your atrocities are on the ceiling. It is no longer hidden. It's everywhere. So Nnamdi Kanu needs to come out unconditionally. For your information, he needs to come out. It is you, Peter and the Hope. You are the ones, you take turns. Whenever issue of Nnamdi Kanu is raised, because I'm talking about those of you that are current now. I don't want to mention the ones that are not governing inside Southeast. You people start hyperventilating, start creating confusion, start causing by everywhere. You people know what you are doing. You are the representation of the terrorism that is going on in Southeast, representing Nigeria. I rest it there. So please, let's just keep your mouth shut. Let's see if they will bring out Nnamdi Kanu. I rest it there, Mr. Okocha. Thank you for giving me opportunity to vent.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. The issue here is that Soludo will lately realize that he made a mistake through what he said. You know, as a public figure, as a governor, as an influencer, as somebody that people are looking up to, before you made a statement, I read all his statement, right? He was saying that because Biafra struggle has been hijacked and so on and so forth. But that is not enough for you to say, even though Nnamdi Kanu is released, that it will not stop. Automatically, you are telling them not to release him. So let's have another contact. Hello? Yeah, good morning. Your name and where you're calling from?
I can tell you where I'm coming from, but I can't mention my name because of.
Okay, it's like there is noise in your area there where you are. It's like there is noise.
Yeah, I can shift from there, but
yes, you can shift so we can hear you well.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, but the background is still disturbing us.
Okay. So let me shift more.
All right.
You see what is happening for us is happening for that place.
Yeah, we can hear you. It seems you have a poor network. Oh.
I was telling market before in Enugu State. We have those people who take money on market, you know, all those places. If they commit any crime, if it takes them go to the local government, chairman, all those things, they will not judge anything. They will not judge anything like, you know, they can say they are wrong or all those things. Because the money they are taking, the local government chairman is aware of all those money. So you cannot blame them. So about Soludo and others, they know everything they are doing.
What do you think? What do you think actually they are doing?
The thing is that they have people who work under them. Let me say, the time they commit crime, they will say it be ipob. They will start saying it be ipob will commit the crime. That's why they hold Nnamdi Kanu so that they will say that is Nnamdi Kanu is a problem of insecurity, or Simon Ekpa is problem of insecurity in Southeast. Whereby before Nnamdi Kanu, there is insecurity. Before Simon Ekpa came up, there is insecurity. In my side, the way I did, in front of my shop, people kidnap from front of my shop. We call police. Within 5 minutes, we call police. After those people run finisher, that's the time police come. Can you imagine? In this country,
it is
my brother is a hunter, but you don't fall victim for all those things.
It's so unfortunate.
You see?
It's unfortunate.
The problem we have for Nigeria. The problem we have for Nigeria is not only government. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the call is anyway. You can just round up. You can just round up, okay?
Hello.
Yeah, you have a poor network, so just summarize what you want to say. Just round up because the network is fluctuating.
I said the problem we have for South. Martins who under governors or local government chairman, they are involved in all those things. They are involved.
All right.
Because let me say, 4 minutes.
His network is really disturbing. Anyway, what he's trying to say is that even in his area, when they were kidnapping somebody, that they call police, and the police refused to come. After those people have left, police started arriving. That is what we used to know Nigerian police right from time, okay? And he was trying to talk about that he is accusing the Nigerian police. He is accusing the security agencies of or the politicians of collaboration. That is what the police commissioner also said. So he's not the first person saying it. Let's have this conduct. Hello? Hello?
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Thanks for joining us. Your name and where you are calling from?
Thank you very much. I always call on you. I am Mr. Meka from Togo.
Yeah, Mr. Meka from Togo. I like the beautiful car in your WhatsApp profile.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks for joining us. You have the mic.
Yeah, my dear brother, you see, most of the times, if you listen here, you'll be confused. Look at what Soludo is vomiting out of his own mandibles. Look at what Soludo, a human being who call himself a figure, coming out of his mouth. Brother, I want to give you an example now. Look at what is happening to North now. You see how North was so united enough to fight Tinubu. You remember when our leader Nnamdi Kanu go to court one certain time 2 years ago? They say he wanted to release, but it was a hope to write a letter to them. Every news coming out from here in Southeast. Are these people ready to be a slave till they die or what, please? I just want to single this question out, please, my dear brother.
Maybe.
Everybody is fighting to let my region be okay. Let me and my people go. Let me look at how Fulani are fighting. That is definitely now that Tinubu cannot escape them. 2027. But look at what we are dragging every time Southeast, every time Southeast. The Soludo believe that if we die on that year, although they have power. Look at Obiana now. Obiana never he finished tomorrow, you know. I saw Obiana I saw him one playing with his toy dog in the field. You can finish us, watch us, mark us finish and run away. Now so they don't want to start his own. My brother, only a black woman if you kill your brother, are you a mayor? You're not a mayor. Huh? Look at our IPOB now, they're singing. Everywhere I can't the problem, everywhere I can't have motion. We cannot be one single united in the nation. Everybody are fighting it and so there is this, so there is this. But I want to blame federal government for one thing. Go is solidarity to the whole Igbo region. If federal government decide that today Nnamdi Kanu will go out, they open that door and let another idiot come and open his mouth and say, why did they release him? Then we have to go after that person direct.
Who prescribed by IPOB? Is it the federal government?
Not them.
So it's not to the federal government now. You think it's federal government that putting Nnamdi Kanu into detention?
You are very 100% right. But this one now there is an adjective of this Soludo, adjective of hope, adjective of wicked. Brother, where will we stand? Person like me and you now, where will we stand? What are we dragging? Why can't we be one voice?
You understand?
So that's if I open media, go on.
Yeah, I say you understand. The issue there is that Soludo shouldn't have said that. Maybe he must have been saying such a thing in the private. And what he was trying to say is that maybe he's just trying to justify the security field that he wants to set up. So he was saying that even though you're releasing Nnamdi Kanu, it will not stop Biafra agitation because people have been hijacked. People have hijacked Biafra agitation. People hijacking before because Nnamdi Kanu is in detention. So even if Nnamdi Kanu is in detention that made people to hijack it, they release him.
As learned as that man claimed he is, is he supposed to make such a comment in public?
Which kind of need? You people should not.
What do you want me to say now? He's not a professor they give him. What do you want me to say?
According to Dumeji, as far as Nigeria is concerned, we are all illiterate. How can you be a professor? Look at your state.
Thank you. I thought you want to blame me. Look at what the professor they give him. Professor. Just for nothing.
Professor.
Just for my brother, sometimes when I begin to look at some of them coming to here to blow that their vocabulary, they are not English, they are talking here. I keep to worry myself. So what makes me to come out of the street? I could have gone there and joined them because one of them cannot speak more. They cannot give us examination now. I will pass, they will fail.
For me, that man should not go back to the government house again. I don't know how Anambra is going to do that, but that man should not go back to government house.
My brother, look at a figure like Nnamdi Kanu who can stand up and dress you like 1 million times without a mistake, 1 million hours without mistakes.
Yeah.
But look at where they are complaining, wanting to waste him for nothing. And the Igbos are saying, anything happened to him. When will something happen to him? Then that's what we do. What will they do that? Can a dead man praise God?
At all.
Look, you watch me sometimes when I call you, I speak. My emotion have to go high. When I begin to see why this people, look at a figure like Soludo. Look at someone like Ebuka. Look at someone like Wilfred. All of them, 4 of them that they say they are government, except Oti, who is somehow dropping his word secretly. Others come here and want to prove that that is their father chair, that is their father power. They cannot remove chair from one day or the other. But if I secretly said now, let IPOB soldiers begin to attack them. They say, hey, Igbo they kill themselves. Igbo they are killing themselves. People who want freedom, they are killing themselves. My brother, look at it. Yeah? In my dialogue, they say, if you don't act well, I will behave wrong. The lack of security, the lack of director is under security's hand. Am I lying?
No.
Why should the security, why should the Soludo come and flush us in this form? You know that many people of Igbos who outside at home, that is, we are mad with this statement since yesterday. What's the meaning of this? Even if you are creating Agot Abu, when you have left an Igbo, let him swallow him. Must you make such a comment to a single person that we have who can speak for? Even if Nnamdi Kanu today denounce Biafra, come for presidency, any election he put on, Igbos have every whole world will vote for him. The one Nigerians, this one not Igbo, Fulani, Northerners, Southwest will vote for him. But look at how they want to waste him for nothing in the name of rubbish.
My dear brother, I am too much. I'm okay. Thank you very much. No matter you give me 3 minutes or 4 minutes, I know I have overtaken it, but thank you very much. Please, let other stuff.
All right. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your contribution.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you.
All right. What the last scholar was saying is that at this point in time, we shouldn't be talking in different voice. We should not be talking in a different idea about the release of Nnamdi Kanu. Every known human being in Nigeria knows that there is an inhumane treatment leveled against Nnamdi Kanu. Everybody knows. There is an inhumane treatment leveled against him. So, well, I'm just trying to figure out everything the Southeast governors have been saying before. This shows that they are totally foul. There was a time, where is the video self? There was a time they all gathered, is it not in Enugu? Look at what they said.
Southeast governors have agreed to meet with President Bola Tinubu to discuss all pressing issues in the region, ranging from security to the economy. According to the forum chairman and governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who read out that communique, part of the issues to be discussed with the president is how to secure the release of the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu.
The forum deliberated on the reviewed report of the Southeast Security and Economic Summit held in Sowore on the 28th September 2023 and agreed to implement the aspects of the report pertaining to security and economic integration of the region and affirmed its desire to put actionable plans on the key issues agreed. The forum resolved to visit Mr. President to discuss the pressing issues, all pressing issues concerning the Southeast region. The forum also deliberated and resolved to interface with the federal government to secure the release of Nnamdi Kanu, and the meeting adjourned whenever.
All right. The Southeast governor, according to Hope Uzodinma, the Southeast governors met. And the reason why they met is because of the issues that is troubling the Southeast, according to them. And they resolve that they are going to meet with Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu. How many months now? 5 months have passed. After 5 months, Soludo is bringing another story, another trajectory that releasing this man will not stop the insecurity challenges. So I just want people to understand the kind of human beings we have in Nigeria, the kind of human beings we have. Ranging from the judiciary, the governor, there is nothing to write about. And that is fueling the agitation. And that is why people will come out, they will tell that there is no going back to the agitation because these people are not ready to change. These people are not ready to change. There is no day that will come out that you will not hear any bad news that you have not heard in the world. I mean, any bad news you have not heard in the world, you will hear it in Nigeria. Are you not aware of what happened yesterday? If not because of intervention of Governor Deneke, that dancing governor, if not because of intervention, there is a young boy that was arrested because he stole a fowl. He stole a fowl, he was arrested, they charged him to court, and the court sentenced him to death. Take a look at the cry of his family.
Sentenced to death by hanging in Osun State for stealing fowl. It's on Google. You can search for it.
ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè nàìjíríà mo rìnrìn àjò kan ní ọdún kan mi mọ̀ pé mo lè padà délé ni wọ́n gbé mi lọ nígbà tí mo débẹ̀ bórí mi ṣe tó mo ní tó tí ní àjò ìbá ti ẹ̀pin síbi ṣùgbọ́n kọ́ mọ̀.
I know that a lot of you don't understand Yoruba language. A lot of my fans don't understand the Yoruba language. What happened yesterday was that a boy was sentenced to death. And what was his crime? He stole a fowl. A fowl. A fowl. He was sentenced to death. See, if we are trying to explain to you people the kind of country you people are, a lot of people play deaf ear until it happens to you. You know, what happens to Dende Farotimi is making a lot of people to wake up. Some Nigerians are waking up now. They are realizing that, oh, this issue is not all about the Igbos. Because a lot of injustice were leveled against Igbos time with that number. I'm not talking tribalism here. I'm trying to state out the facts. But Igbos are learning. They are learning. They are avoiding everything about Nigeria. And that is how they are learning. If they want to do their protest, they will sit at home. They will do all those things. Now, they now switch. Look at injustice. The arrest of Dende Farotimi, from that to look at what they are doing. From criticizing bad luck. Now, they are arresting and sentencing by hanging. They are sentencing a minor, for that matter, 17 years old boy. They sentence him to death that he stole a fowl. Where does it happen? Where does it happen?
Sentenced to death by hanging in Osun State for stealing fowl. It's on Google. You can search for it.
ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè nàìjíríà mo rìnrìn àjò kan ní ọdún kan mi mọ̀ pé mo lè padà délé ni wọ́n gbé mi lọ nígbà tí mo débẹ̀ bórí mi ṣe tó mo ní tó tírí àjò ibà ti ẹ̀pin síbi ṣùgbọ́n kọ́mọ mi ó sá jáde peter àti rìndé lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí o ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè nàìjíríà.
àwọn ọmọ yẹn pé wọ́n ní àti adìẹ ẹ̀yìn kankan gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n sá wà ládùúgbò náà sá ń bá wa bẹ̀ pé máa sá lọ gbà tó lọ́nà ó tiẹ̀ mọ́ parẹ́ ò mọ́ ọ tiẹ̀ ọjẹ́ ò bàtí ọlọ́run sá ti ṣe tí wọ́n ti rí ẹmú yẹn yẹra ó sá dì láì ní pé òní sá pé nǹkan tó mọ́wọ́ tẹ̀ mẹsẹ̀ kan wá mú o kò sá o tí àwọn ọlọ́pàá yẹn tí wọ́n fi mú àṣà wọ wàhálà.
ó sá ń ka ìwé yẹn táwa náà dẹ̀ rí i pé
ó ń kàwé
yẹn
ó graduate níbẹ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ pé àní owó lọ́wọ́.
ẹ wá lọ sí fún graduation ni kí ló read medicine ló read ó read medicine lẹ́wọ̀n.
ní dp yẹn bá ní kí n lọ wá.
You understand? Anyway, let's have this caller before we continue discussing this, this painful issue. Hello? Hello? Hello, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. Tell us your name and where you are connected from.
I said, let me call you on phone today. I'm calling from Boston, Massachusetts.
Sorry, where, sir?
Massachusetts. That's one of the states in the United States.
Oh, all right.
I talked to you live, a few days ago.
Thanks for joining us.
I was asking, where I brought you the why question, you actually answered,
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So how are you doing? I know it's pretty late now.
I am good, yeah.
My gosh, I hope you sleep.
I do.
It's your work. May God bless you, because if not what you guys are doing, I don't see if anybody will remain in that country. But you guys have been doing wonderfully, bringing out issues that we see unfolding on a daily basis, and not everything that does not even go in line with the people.
We also believe that what we are doing is not enough.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's not enough. We need to do more. We need to do more, but I believe it's a gradual process, it's progression. Because there are a lot of things to talk about, there are a lot of things happening, there are a lot of things to cover, but it is little by little.
Yeah, it's difficult with what the present government introduced in the community, and that is hunger. So in a place like that, it's very difficult to get together.
It's very difficult now. You just see the video I played where they want to hang a medical student, a graduate medical student, because he stole a fowl. They want to hang him by that. So that is to tell you the nature of country we are.
It's very difficult. I don't know. Nigeria is already a failed state. It's quite unfortunate. And let me react to this Soludo statement that
releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop insecurity.
Yes, yes. I think what Soludo is doing, the one who called himself a professor, I think I don't know whether he considered the political implications of his statement.
I don't think so.
Statement regarding Kanu's release, you can see that it has highlighted several critical factors, and people are reacting, particularly many of us that are concerned from the East, and if you bring such a huge issue that people see relating to security and governance in the southeast region of Nigeria, Soludo has just his statement, he just shot himself on the leg without him knowing. Firstly, Soludo's assertion that Kanu's release will not necessarily address the underlying issues of insecurity.
Yeah,
you can see that when you watch closely and dissect his statement, there's a conflict, in that statement. You get it? Why did I say he shot himself in the leg? What is implying is that the governor is advocating for more comprehensive approach for security that goes beyond the any individual figure, even as Nnamdi has claimed that he will stop if he comes out. Little did he know that he is also emphasizing on other systematic issues, such as the poverty they have introduced in the country and across the Nigerian country, even in Anambra State. Unemployment that they were not able to solve. And, he is also saying that to defend their security fund they get, he knows that if Nnamdi Kanu actually comes out, it will stop.
Yeah.
And then people will ask, what are you doing with the security fund? That's just the only way to defend it, and it's just defending also for the whole of this speaking for the rest of the governors in the East, except the Abia State governor. But he is speaking in, for the rest of the other governors, particularly the Imo State governor. So you can see that they have been using the issue of Nnamdi Kanu, just to boost their political, aspirations, to get themselves. They've never done anything that is positive. They've never even gone to beg, as they will always come out to speak. You can see the other day, the governor was making a conference, the last time they met. You get it? You can see the way he was reading it. I mean, the Imo State governor.
Yeah.
If you watch what he was reading, at some point he was not even concerned. It's just like they let them just make that statement.
Yeah.
It wasn't real.
If you see his facial expression, you understand that it doesn't correspond to what he's reading out.
Exactly. So I'm thinking that maybe what Soludo is also doing, perhaps he just want to, strategically position himself as a pragmatic leader, perhaps who prioritize, the people. And you know what I mean? It's just like he's looking at it, it's even beyond what Nnamdi Kanu is claiming that he will stop. Because he knew that there are other problems that lies with the poverty of the people, with unemployment and all that. it might not be that his assertion may not be able to completely solve. Because they know the problem, and they know what Nnamdi Kanu can do. It's not that they do not know, but the only thing is going to be very, very disadvantageous to them, because then people will see that they have not even done anything. They have never. What are they? People will start asking questions about the security fund, which perhaps they are using to create the insecurity in the Southeast. They are the one doing it, and they're doing it deliberately. Because that's the only way they can defend the money they collect from the security fund they collect. You get it? So what do? Perhaps they liaise with, the state actors, which we all know them, So if Nnamdi Kanu comes out, that confusion will stop. And they want that confusion because that's the only way they can make their money, at the expense of the killings.
There is nothing that will make us not to believe this now. This thing you are saying, there is nothing that will make us not to believe it. Not when we are seeing politicians sponsoring insecurity, when police is indicting local government chairman, House of Assembly member of becoming a bandit. Governor of Zamfara State is indicting his predecessor, who is a minister of defense, that he is the one sponsoring bandit. So we know that politicians can go to any length just because of money and power.
Exactly.
That is it.
So he knows what he's doing. It's not it's deliberate. His comment is just deliberate because perhaps without him, considering the implication that statement carried, and perhaps he knew that he has no other chance for re-election, and the best way is let him do the human business, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't see him returning because he's of no use to that state. We get it. It's of no use. It's quite unfortunate.
So unfortunate.
A man of such caliber, he will just decide to make statements that looks derogatory to his personality. It's quite a pity.
Well, I am not surprised. I know you have exhausted your time, but let me just chip in this one. I am not surprised.
Yes.
Soludo have one character that a lot of people don't like. And Igbo don't like. Do you remember when Obi was going for presidency, how Soludo was writing letter against him? What Obi did in Anambra, can Soludo do it? He's already borrowing. So he wrote letter against Obi, why Obi should not be president and so on and so forth. We were laughing at him. Now, he's already at the end of his tenure. What has he done? Nothing. And he's saying he's going to set up a security outfit that will tackle insecurity, that releasing Nnamdi Kanu will not stop insecurity. This is just a statement of a failure. I know that India Anambra will do everything possible to make sure that that man did not return to the government house. Because
no, he wouldn't. There's no way.
Yeah,
no,
because the essence of government is to make sure you understand your people. You are not serving foreigners. You are not serving federal government. You are serving India Anambra. So what pleases India Anambra? Study your people and know what they want. That is the essence of government. Government is all about the people. So even though we don't put mouth in federal issue like that, but when it comes to your indigenous people, your own, it is important people take charge of their place, take charge of what happened. And if anybody is going to the left, push the person to the left and take the power away from him. So that is the way it is.
That's it.
Thank you so much, my
That's
brother.
the only way.
Yeah.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah. So now, this is another story that most of the politicians from the Southeast and also their South-South, Old Eastern region, they are pardoning. The truth is that in Nigeria, to define patriotism to the people, is very difficult. A lot of people believe that patriotism is when you just believe the illegality happening in Nigeria. That is, you are just exercising patriotism. But that is opposite of what they call patriotism. For them, patriotism means that when you see evil, thou shalt not talk. That is their own patriotism. Their own patriotism is that you must put your head on the ground for them to march and pass. That is patriotism. Don't dare speak evil against the powers that be. When you see they are doing evil, turn your eyes and just say good things about them. That is patriotism. But I refuse to define patriotism in that way. I refuse to define it in that way. The reason why a lot of politicians in the Southeast are angry is just because they feel that these Biafra agitators, they have influence. They have influence and they are not loyal. They have influence more than us and they can't be loyal more than us. So crucify them, kill them, do everything. Let them languish in detention. Let them languish in jail. I was watching this guy, the owner of Object TV, and he was just talking about this issue of patriotism. How people say this is patriotism. You have to be patriotic to your country. You have to be patriotic to your people without even knowing the single meaning of patriotism. Take a listen.
Is it Nigerians who held national flag loyally to their chest and chanting national anthem? Soldiers went into them and shot at them, killing scores. Are those the ones you want to go and redefine patriotism? Even the Nigerians who have lived over 40 years doing legitimate business and they couldn't make anything out of it. Today they are facing rent increase, tomorrow electricity tariff increase, next increase in fuel price, next police is harassing them, and just 1 or 2 years outside of Nigeria, they are already doing it. People who are retiring, sending their retirement funds home to come and settle in Nigeria. You have paid, you have taken all the valid documents that you need, and the likes of Wiki and their what's the name of this new minister for road, Umai, will just, they will say they are doing realignments, overriding public interest. They will demolish your property, your retirement savings, and Wiki will come out and say, what if I'm taking the land and I'm giving to my friends? Ha! And you want such a person to be more patriotic than talking about their pains? You want to define patriotism for such person, and your definition is that they should not talk about their pains. Nigerians are already patriotic people. It is the government that is frustrating a lot of them. Or what is your own experience with Nigeria police, for instance? Waiting for Kemi talk will not be true. See if Nigeria has ever happened to you. Just like Fela, if they ask you any question, you may answer the question at first on the surface, but you always come back to the government. Ask Fela about woman. If you talk about woman, African woman, you go talk and finish, you go come back to government. Ask him about teacher. You say, okay, when we be children, now my mama be teacher. We did for school, teacher be teacher, university, lecturer be teacher. You can't bring and come back government. Who be government teacher, college? You can't say, wait, now the government side of teacher and students, I go sing about. Ask Fela about church, religion, God. You say, Imam, Bishop, blah blah blah. You will bring it back to Obasanjo, Yaradua, Abiola, ITT, IBB. Is a typical example of Nigeria don't happen to you and you can't get over it. So when Auntie Kemi Badenoch was making reference to Nigeria, she was asked definitely about British police. You know, the first thing that will come to your mind is wait a minute, compared to where I was coming from, man, this is way better. People who still speak with pains and passion, combine the two, pains and passion about Nigeria, even though they denounce Nigeria because of the experiences or trauma they had, they still wish, really, say that country can be, because they really want that country. But the frustration don't make them, all these fake preachers or emergency apostles of patriotism in Nigeria and all that. Please, where do you stay? In the Jupiters, the Uranus, the Mars, Pluto? Or are you already living where Elon Musk has launched in the space? Because I don't understand. So those who say that Nigerians who are complaining about the situation of the country are not patriotic, they are right too. But they are only right to the extent that they expect that people should accept whatever is meted to them. Like, yes, Nigeria will trample on you, will do everything, put you down, just remain a humble slave, and then you're a patriotic citizen. They are simply saying a country without structure for justice is their own ideal country, and people who accept it are the real patriots. That is their own definition of patriotism. Those who are saying no, that's not we can't live the objective realities, they are also right. So if you look at most of these people who have become emergency apostles of this fake love for Nigeria, especially that white goatee beard guy who was one time was this spokesperson for a former president, who stole identity, then he called himself with the same, and under that stolen identity was writing lies, concocting falsehood. Till today he's still writing twists up and down. That desperate political hustler looking for appointment under Tinubu, he will say one thing today, he will say another one tomorrow. Nigerians have experiences that when they speak out of passion and pain together at the same time. I doff my heart for those Nigerians who will come out and say, whoa, this is my reality. Now Nigeria, we need corrections. Those are the true patriotic Nigerians. So when government is busy frustrating young people who want to be patriotic, I don't know what else we want them to do. A lot of people have run away from the country. Some have even abandoned the country's citizenship and passport to go and take up another one. You now see few who are still struggling and saying we will try. You now treat them like are you serious right now? If you live abroad or you don't even stay in Nigeria except you have political appointments, you are now telling me one kind. I beg, make una stop all this your fake emergency patriotism and love for Nigeria preaching. It's not going to let our head be corrected.
Anyway, that is just the honest explanation about what is going on in Nigeria. That is just the honest explanation. Because they expect you to be loyal. They expect you to bow down to them. They expect you to just do whatever they ask you to do. They expect you to come and join their party. They expect you to come and be with them. But how can it be? There is no way. There is no way. Seeing the injustice, seeing everything. There has never been a country. I used to say this. There has never been a country. We are just living in deception. There have never been a country at all. A country where there is no justice. The only thing that separates the good from evil in this world is justice. So when there is no justice, you already have evil. When there is no justice, you already have evil. How can it be that people call themselves citizens under government? Every day they are being kidnapped, they are being killed. Nobody's talking about it. People are being killed every day. This is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It shouldn't happen. So when we are calling for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, we know what we are doing. We know what we are talking about. Because this Nigeria is just like a den of terrorists, both people in government and so on and so forth. In our very own eyes, government is sponsoring terrorism. They are releasing Boko Haram. They are doing all sorts of, they are promising Boko Haram that they can become president. Whereas people who protested, they are charging them for treason. And you think people who reason, a lot of people have lost their mind in Nigeria. Yes, I believe. A lot of people have lost their mind. But you think people who can reason will continue to step so low to continue to dance to the tune they are playing for them? You people saw the video I posted on a National Assembly today. They were singing for Tinubu, on your mandate we shall stand. Tinubu carry book, he said this is the 11th Assembly. Instead of 10th Assembly, he now, instead of him to correct his mistake or for them to correct him, he said, all of you are re-elected. And they are clapping. It's just like when Donald Trump will come into the House of Rep in America and said, all of you are re-elected in next election. In the next sitting, they will impeach him. That is felony. That is treason. Because you are trying to impose something on people. You might explain it in different way, but you see Tinubu is very dangerous. Very dangerous. I was warning Edo people. I was warning them that, look at what Tinubu is saying, that he will hand over Edo State back to APC. Say, do you love Oshomon? Do you love me? I will hand Edo State over to APC. And he did it. So people who don't understand the kind of thing going on in Nigeria will only doubt the worst that is coming. Let's have another caller. Hello.
Hello, good morning. Happy Master.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us. Your name and where you are calling from?
Also from Asia.
From Asia or?
How are you doing?
I'm fine. If you don't mind, what or which particular country are you calling from Asia?
Taiwan.
Oh, Taiwan. Taiwan is a beautiful country. A very good country for that matter.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, I've been listening to the discussion. On the first instance, the same guy who was sentenced, there has been conflicting information about him. Now, the issue of being a medical student has, cropped up. But yesterday on Arise TV, they were discussing that the guy already spent 40 years in prison.
14 years.
Yes, and he has already spent. You can check on Arise TV discussion yesterday, their morning show between Mahabati, Ojiobe, Osiri, and another lady. Yes, it's already 40 years in prison before these sentences. Because of that discussion, the Mahabati was saying that the guy needs to be compensated for still just a common foul. That he spent 40 years of his life was wasted and now death by hanging. Now, even in Nigeria law, each punishment should be commensurate with the crime someone committed.
Yeah, now the issue there is that we only reported when he was sentenced because he was about to be killed, but nobody knew before when he was sentenced. You understand? As in, when he was arrested and detained, nobody knew.
Because they were saying he's in prison already for 14 good years.
Now, the question Nigerians are asking, the question the whole world are asking, because I saw Al Jazeera first post, they're already reporting it, that because of foul, someone was sentenced to death in Nigeria. Now, the question we are asking, who is the judge that passed that sentence?
Exactly. By the end of the day, everything will play out.
Because if I am in any position at all, that judge should just return to his house.
Exactly. That is where the National Judicial Council will come in and other similar authorities.
But unfortunately, we all know what is going on in the judiciary. We all know.
I thank God to their vindicative
Delefarotimi about criminal justice system.
Yes, I was happy about it because the thing that is the whole world is reading, the whole world is listening, the whole world is seeing what is happening. So this is a vindication upon that man. Instead of that, we even analyze, we are saying people that stole billions, public funds, we are not touched. But look at, is this not hunger? Remember, there was this kind of case. Was it at the Ogudu police station, Lagos State? Someone stealing banana. They say when they get to the station, the DPU have to, even from his pocket, cough out money and give to the person, and the police will release him. This person, this guy, this dude is just hungry.
Now,
leave him to go.
Yeah, now you can go back to the video I did yesterday afternoon. One man from Kwara State reported that there was another person who stole fowl in Kwara State, that the person died in detention, the person died in prison.
Imagine. So just
This is unfortunate.
Very, very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. You know, coming to Nnamdi Kanu issue too, with all those Soludo, he's a man who has been anti-Igbo, even from his days in the central bank. Remember what Okojiwala said about him? He said, this is an educated man without character. People thought Okojo was saying it out of malice. His ego is not playing out. Forget that time they were praising him. The backbone between what is happening in the Nigerian economy is Okojiwala. You know, by the time he's about to end his tenure as a CBN governor, we know what happened when they have a secret meeting to hold the dollar when he was leaving. If you can remember vividly, immediately a day or two before he left Central Bank, from that point, dollar skyrocketed, just for no reason. This is a deal he had with bank managers then. He did it. Who is into business? Who are more into business? Who are more into buying the dollar? Who are more into exchange rate for their business transaction? Is it not the so-called his brothers Igbos? But this is what this man did to them. Look at 2020 election. He did everything to spoil Obi them, castigating him, saying a lot of nonsense. Check Soludo and see them. What good have he ever said about Igbos? If any Igbo he sees as maybe this one may get more political superiority against it tomorrow, he will start attacking the person. Look at I see how he's gallivanting. He wants to make Anambra a gateway to the world. Soludo keep short.
His tenure has finished. He did not do anything now. Next year is election.
Thank you. The APs is flying. The license is given to APs. That means APs work with a UK aviation to grant the license from Anambra to UK. What is his business there? The airport was built by Obiano with the money P2B saved and left during his tenure. So why is he gallivanting? This guy thinks we are stupid. This guy thinks we are just fools. All the time he will be shouting to buy Taiwan. There was a time effort was made to bring him to Taiwan. Before, immediately when he was running, to bring him, since they have the intention to have a case study of Taiwan and Nigeria, since they want to go that way. Messages were sent to this man. The same way he was running, effort we are made to reach out to him. Guys are ready, to even with their own body, not even with other body. This they never see the light of the day. Yes, those messages were not even opened. Those efforts we are about. I don't want to go much into it. It's what I do. Because we want to, let me come and study the transport system here, waste disposal system and agriculture to understand it and then go and implement it in Anambra State. Today, that effort never see the light of the day. They are about to eat. I don't just want to talk here out there. So what kind of money is there gallivanting? Dubai, Taiwan. All of us will travel to all these places. By the end of it, just after 4 years, but even diving to Nnamdi Kanu's issue, he have painted himself with a color he may not clean so soon. And Arabs are watching. We are waiting. This is the worst he can do. This is the worst. Everybody knows this security situation. Like the caller from US, Massachusetts. All this is, they are doing all this is so that they will be collecting the security money and be messing up. What have they achieved? Nothing. Nothing. No, nothing. We are watching. We are waiting. It's just a matter of time. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. I really appreciate.
All
right. All right, sir. Thank you so much.
Even as bad as Boko Haram issue that has to do with somebody waking up because of whatever belief, killing people, beheading people, that is a heinous crime, bigger than even treason. But still, government went on negotiations at different times. Government went on rehabilitation. Imagine rehabilitating a murderer that enjoys beheading. But government still was doing it because government wants lasting and sustainable solution. Now, issues that were, triggered by injustice and unfair treatment and exclusion and so on and so forth leads to this agitation in the East. Up till now, federal government has not sit down on the table to discuss with Southeast leaders and Southeast youth. This even goes a long way to show that they don't care about what happens to the East. They don't care about us. They don't care whether we'll survive. They don't care whether we are dying or whether we're killing ourselves. In a country that today, whether you like it or not, we are the biggest investors outside our region. How many of the regions have massive investment in other regions? That means the Igbo man is one that even believes in the sustainability of the Nigerian project. That is why he can invest in a zone or a land where he does not come from. So, but just ordinarily sit down and let's find a solution. Because the root cause is also rooted to these issues of exclusion. Injustice that have spanned for decades. And the more you are alienated, the more you tell the ones that are growing that you are not wanted. And that's why you see the result to all these crises that have brought instability. Now, instead of finding a way to calm nerves and restore it, you go about showing them, I don't care about you. So I'm using this as I'm commending the president for freeing discontinuing the treason charges against those kids. We're also begging him that exercise the same constitutional provision under section 174 thereabout, and let the Attorney General issue a knowledge and discontinue the trial of matters. And especially at the time that the judicial system has made conclusive pronouncement at different times, Federal High Court, different court, that this trial has no legal basis. At least in these cases there have been final pronouncement, but you're still fighting and must prove that he's guilty. That means hate. That means you hate the tribe. Because there's judgments of court that have said, release him. The invasion of his house was an attempt to assassinate and kill him. Everybody saw the day the people invaded. There was no cause for that. And the people were beheaded and killed and massacred in tens. And the man ran for his life. And he did not run away or jump there. He invaded somebody's house. Just like the time those murderers from my area, in the name of politics, invaded to attempt to behead me and killed some of my family members. Didn't we flee? At the end of the day, when we were able to survive, are we going to, even if I was on bail, I should keep the head so that they can cut it off like ancient Greece. So the man have to run to survive. And then the extraordinary rendition is unknown to our law. It was a clear case of kidnap and abduction, which the court have also declared as illegal. So I've been issued there's even no trial. So why is Nnamdi still in detention? Because he's an Igbo man. That's why you have the same, another traditional ruler that is kept in Lagos prison, that the Lagos state government is trying. Because he said, if you don't stop attacking our businesses, if you don't stop killing our people, we are going to bring help to defend our place. Instead of you dealing with the hate that your people are projecting there in Lagos, that is leading to killing of our people, burning of our businesses, because we are exercising our constitutional right to either vote or choose leaders. You went after the traditional ruler who spoke in defense of their people, because they're an Igbo person. Other people in that same Lagos, both the traditional ruler has called for genocide against our people. None of them were charged. But he now said that if we don't stop burning this market that Igbo people are trading, if we don't stop throwing us into lagoon, if we don't stop attacking our people, that I will invite the ESN to come and defend the people in Lagos. That's what he said. And then all of a sudden, they dump him in court. They are prosecuting him, and they have dumped him in Kirikiri. That our traditional law is still in Kirikiri for almost 3 years now or more. They're not ready to prosecute him. Sowore left him there. Because an Igbo man. So if we want to be one Nigeria, we should be honest and stop being stupid about the lies. In Igbo, they say, "Men wa keshi mi beya obidiyama." When you do the child the way you're doing this other child, they will be happy. Are you doing us the same? You're not doing us the same way. Do we want to build a country, a nation, or are we running a geographical expression like Awolowo also said? If we want to build a nation, that even though the tongues and religion may differ, but in brotherhood we can still stand, then you have to behave like a family, like a brother. You resolve the Igbo issue. Don't pretend like you don't know it's existing. You will not have stability. Let us see ourselves as one honestly and root it on that principle of justice, equity, and fairness. If you know what if they do to you, not like, why are you doing it to an Igbo person? So it's on that ground that I'm asking the president that is long overdue. It's time to respect those judgments of the court and stop this judicial. The court freed him. You went again. You fight another. No, it's not necessary. We're looking for peace and stability. 70% of our people today will take Mr. President seriously when he talks about building a nation, uniting our people, bringing us together, making us to believe that he's about to renew hope, which includes justice. You have to renew my faith in the justice system, in the equity system, in the fairness system. That our people, 70% of our people believe that if President wants us to take him serious, he should first of all release Nnamdi Kanu and find a way to go to the table to find a permanent political solution to the challenges facing our people. Then we can take him serious. That's the way our people feel. Any of the Igbo leaders can come to Abuja and be lying to him. Those ones I call outlaws. They can be saying all sorts of nonsense, but down there in our...
All right. That was from Ikenga Ugochire, one of the House of Rep from Imo State. He spoke the truth. So that is not a recent video, about a month ago, but I think it's very relevant. It's important we understand word by word everything he said. All right, sir, we have a guest in the house. Let me unmute you. Okay, you can unmute yourself over there, sir.
Yeah,
Good morning, sir.
Thank you so much, Mazo Kocha Namoche. I salute you.
Thank you so much. Look, at by this time, it seems I am keeping you awake. Sorry for that.
No, I was just going through, it's almost, it's 12:38 Ghana time here, GMT.
Yeah. Meaning Ghana and Nigeria is using the same time now?
I think now, right? Because Nigeria is ahead of Ghana with 1 hour.
Meaning we are using the same time now. All right, sir. Yeah. I think, let me introduce you because of newcomers, but I think old comers, my old fans and subscribers don't need introduction about you. Mr. Wimbu is a retired, he's a retired military officer, not retired, or he resigned. Let me put it in that way. He served Nigerian military for good 18 years. You know what that means, right? I think if it is a developed country, he's entitled to his pension. 18 years serving Nigerian, army. It's not easy. 18 years serving Nigeria is not easy. He have told us, more story about his service and so on and so forth in our previous video. You can go and watch it. Sir, you are welcome. Thank you so much. You have the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mazo Kocha. And like my mother's people call it. Continue to strengthen you and bless you for what you are doing. Your videos and your analysis are going, right across the world. And I believe that so many people are watching the good work that you are doing and projecting, the injustices that are being meted out on our people, which we do not know when it is going to stop. You see, I joined you when you were, I was looking at the topic. You see, when our people wants to get something from the government of Nigeria, they always use our own people as a stepping stone. If you remember when Soludo was there campaigning to become the governor of Anambra State, Nnamdi Kanu was still with us. Nnamdi Kanu said that there will be no election in Anambra State. And later on, he changed and said, if I say there will be no election in Anambra State, they will accuse me of being an
It seems that you have a poor network.
Yeah, I think so. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. But while he was looking for that, knowing fully well that Nnamdi Kanu commands a lot of multitude behind him, and he is going to benefit from it, he started, peddling that Nnamdi Kanu, I'm going there to visit Nnamdi Kanu, and so on and so forth. Immediately, he became the governor. What happened? What happened? Mazo Kocha, I would like to tell you today, in my own opinion, do you know the Fulani people value Nnamdi Kanu as someone who is standing on the truth and fighting for the just cause, fighting for the just cause, fighting for his own people, than those people that sold him out. Mazo Kocha, you knew very well.
Yeah.
It was the former Anambra State Governor, Willie Obiano, that suggested that Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB be proscribed as terrorist group.
Yeah.
What's happened to Nnamdi Kanu started from the house. Like the Igbo people where my mother comes from said that it is only the rat in the forest that informed the rat in the house that informed the rat in the forest that there is meat in the pot. And remember, that rat in the house is just few. But when the ones in the forest begin to troop into the house, they will eat up the meat in the pot and eat the rats and the owners of the house as well. How do you want to tell me, like my Namoche Kenga is talking here? You sold your own people. You sold your own brother. You sold you sent them into the slaughter slab to be cut off, just like they did to Ken Saro-Wiwa. Today, you are now coming to plead. Do you think that they will honor you? Do you think that they will respect you, selling your own people? And even, you see, today, politically, Southeast is irrelevant when it comes to Nigerian politics.
Yeah.
Because you cannot sell your own people to your enemy and expect that enemy to respect you. The enemy, for some of us that have worked with these people that speak their language very well, fluently, understand their culture and tradition, will tell you that they will not respect you. That is the reason why they are treating our people with absolute disdain. What the Sunday Boko, did they not, haven't they released him?
Far.
Abakari, haven't they released him? Through J, haven't they released him?
They have.
Sowore, have they not released Sowore?
They have.
What is the reason of keeping Nnamdi Kanu in detention? It's because of the wickedness of our people. Because of the wickedness of some of our people. They sold him for political, promises that they promised them. And when they got him, they now throw them by the roadside. Today they are begging. Is it not shameful that even an elder statesman of the First Republic was begging for his son to be released? Yet, Buhari refused to release him after even the Supreme Court said that the processes that brought him back to Nigeria, and the processes that made him to run away were all illegal.
Yeah.
You see, these are some of the things. And that is the reason why I cannot support such country, because that country is, operating on illegality, is operating on all kinds of things that name them. Injustice, inequality, Mazokocha, name them. Our people are today. People are laughing at us.
Yeah.
The brave people, Abacha said that we know the people when they speak, when they begin to sound the drum of war, we will be awake. Towards the Biafran people, you and I, and your brothers and sisters at home. Today, because of the wickedness of our people, because of going in bed with the terrorist system, with the corrupt system, with the criminal status quo, our people have sold their birthright for a bowl of porridge. And that is the reason why we are receiving what we are receiving today, Mazokocha. Are you there?
So unfortunate. At this point, what do you think the people should do at this point? You can unmute yourself.
You see, there is no more. You see, he who is on the ground already fears no fall. What are we benefiting from there? Look at the appointments. Even the federal character is not even respected, it's not even honored. As bad as the 1999 Constitution, which I call the military decree 10 Constitution, is not respected. The judicial pronouncements or rulings are not respected. What is good about that country? Nothing. We just had our own election here. Maazo Kocha, on the 7th of December, we had our own election. The INEC chair was here. He witnessed how elections were done. We go to our election to vote, to cast our vote, as if you are going to your farm. Finish your farm.
Okay. Are you a Ghana citizen already?
Of course, my father is from this country. My father is from the Upper East region. I said that numerous times here. My father is from Upper East region, from the Kusase tribe of Mole Dagbon, ethnic group in Ghana. We share border with the Burkina Faso. I am from the Kusase tribe. That's where my father comes from. Amamo is from Abangwa, the Ngwa people in Abia State, currently Abia State, the current Abia State. You see, we went here, we voted. Do you know that we lost 2 people in this election, and those people, that the culprits, have been apprehended and they are going to have their day in court? They are going to have their day. You cannot make incendiary comments here against any ethnic group in this country. Even the president is not allowed to do that. If you go back, the current president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, went to Volta region when there was a spillage from the dam, from the Akosombo dam, when they released water that, covered and destroyed, so many houses, rendered people, displaced a lot of people within the Akosombo, the Volta region area. He went there and said something, because the Volta region are predominantly NDC, National Democratic Congress, that won the election today, this time around. John Dramani Mahama is the president-elect of the NDC. He went there and told them that, look, I will not, just like what Buhari said, I will not treat people that gave me 5% and people that gave me 95% the same way. I don't know whether you remember her. This man went there and said the same thing. It's true that you people did not vote me, but that will not make me not to come and visit you people in this, problem. That thing did not sound good in the ears of every Ghanaian. In fact, he was bastardized, he was chastised, he was condemned outrightly right across the country. Even his own party condemned him. You shouldn't have done that. The day you become the president of Ghana, whether they voted you in or not, you become the president of all, not your party.
And that could be the reason why he lost the election.
Of course. In fact, the loss of MPP, National Patriotic Party, is the worst. Is the worst in the history of Ghana. No political party has ever lost overwhelmingly the way they lost. In fact, they lost with over 1.7 million votes. 1.7 million votes. And if you come to the parliament, they have the NDC now, including the stronghold of the NPP, the ruling party. They lost over 60 members of parliament. Right now, the NDC, the former opposition, are now the super majority. I have to tell you now that, in fact, I want to tell you now, Mazo Kocha, that the NPP do not even have up to 100 members of parliamentarians representing the party in the House of Parliament as I'm talking to you. They have 88.
That is what's supposed to happen in Nigeria in 2023 presidential election. But
yes, Mazo Kocha, but do you know the reason why it didn't work that way? Because there are people, the money baggers, what I call the money baggers, they are the one controlling. Nigerian election, no matter how credible it is, your votes don't count. Your votes don't count. There are people, even in Ghana here, there is what we call monetization of electoral processes. The people will collect your money. They will tell you, after all, it is our money. They will collect it and they will vote against you. They will vote against you. It is difficult to win an incumbent president because of, the resources that they have and the influence that they have and what they will tell you that they have done. This particular NPP government here, led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was campaigning on free senior high school they've given to the people. But there are reports that have tainted that, free. The parents contribute. If you browse what they call EduWatch, that's Education Watch in Ghana, they have carried out a report that what the party called free education is not free. Parents pay 77% of the bills, while the government pay 23%, according to that EduWatch. So how would you call it free? So why would you use that as a campaign, slogan to win people? But our people knows what they do. Ghana democracy has matured. Ghana democracy has matured over time, and you cannot lie to the people. Even if you tell them that, oh, this is what you've done, this is what you've done, they are looking at the figures. They are going to the market. They know the economy and what is going on. What they used to buy at 100 naira today is about 500 naira. So what do you want? And you promised that you are going to make it less than 100 naira before you took over. Now you come in, you carried it to 500 naira, and you want us to believe you. We will not believe you. We prefer a new government to come in, and we will support him than for you to carry on with that lies. That is the habit of the Ghanaian people. And as we were voting, the votes are counted openly in the polling stations. Do you know when the votes are counted in the polling station in the presence of all the representatives of the various parties present, you cannot cheat. You cannot cheat. You cannot rig. Some people were coming in with soft ballot. They were arrested. All of them are going to go into the book. They are going to be prosecuted as we speak. Unlike Nigeria, where you see people sharing money without nothing happening to them. Tomorrow, they will do more. Once you encourage that habit of corruption, electoral corruption, you did not find them, even after seeing them on videos, you did not have the political, capacity to punish them. The next time they will do more. The next time they will do more. So you must, if you are a responsible government, you must put those people and create a kind of deterrent for such things not to happen again. Then you will have a credible and acceptable electoral processes. But when you see the INEC themselves, the chair, the beavers worked and they promise in Chatham House that they are going to transmit election votes to the IRF. That's what they told you, which is going to help to curtail electoral malfeasance, rigging, overvoting, and the rest of them. But when they came, the same system, Beavers and IRF worked in the National Assembly, the legislators, elections. But when it get to the presidential election, there was a glitch. Till today, even the courts, the tribunal and the Supreme Court could not tell Nigerians what that glitches were. They could not. No be juju be that.
I read juju, evil things sometimes makes me laugh. It's all right. So the last thing I want to ask you, because we don't have a lot of people who are calling, just in 5 minutes. Now, what is your take? What is your stand about this Soludo issue, saying that if they release Nnamdi Kanu, that it will not stop insecurity? And that automatically has been translated to being that no need to release Nnamdi Kanu, is not relevant releasing him.
You see, all of them, all the political elites in Southeast and right across Biafra land, even United Kingdom, see Mazen Nnamdi Kanu as a stumbling block that is going to stop them from continue to carry out the injustices and the plundering of the Biafran resources. That's what they see them. That's what they see him. If they release Mazen Nnamdi Kanu, insecurity in Southeast is going to stop, because vacuum upholds evil. Vacuum upholds evil. There are quite a lot of people that are taking the advantage to commit mayhem in Biafra land as we speak to you. There are non-state actors that are doing, very horrible things in Biafra land. I don't know if you remember. During one of the sit-at-home, I was in a space with some people, group of people. The guy, I think he's from Anambra State. One of his brother, on one of the sit-at-home Mondays, the brother went out. Do you know that the police arrested him? Asked him, why are you not at home? Yes. 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 I believe in God, and I believe that swearing is against my own belief. I could have swear on you. I could have swear with my own parents. I am telling you, the guy said that the police people arrested his brother for coming out. In fact, I asked him this question. So the police people were also arresting, enforcing sit at home? He said yes, and they collected over 150,000 from the brother.
Hey!
From the brother. These are uniformed men that were supposed to protect the people. I'm telling you the truth. This guy was not lying. He said it. He maintained it. He even expressed his own ordeal in the hands of the police, Nigerian police force, while he was traveling from North Kanu to Southeast. You see, Mazo Kocha, these are some of the things. They knew that Nnamdi Kanu, if released, Nnamdi Kanu is not going to stop with the agitation for the restoration of Biafra. And I support him in total. I support him in total. There is nothing else. Nigeria is gone. A country that, we discussed this issue before. A country that cannot protect her citizens from the hands of the Sahel terrorist agents coming into the country. They are pampering them. What is their need of being in government? What is their need of being in government? Electricity, they cannot. Electricity, they can. Look at my place. I have light here in Ghana. Irrespective of how hard the economy is, irrespective of the debt that we have and unpaid, by this government, yet we still have constant electricity. In fact, I have my own meter. I have my own prepaid meter. What I consume is what I pay. But in Nigeria, they are giving you estimated billing. Even if they supply you electricity for 1 day, they will charge you for 1 week or 2 weeks or 1 month. How can you call that a country as big as that country with the kind of resources God has blessed that country with? Do you think Europeans supposed to queue in the various embassies of Nigeria to come and visit Nigeria? But the reverse is the case. While I was in Libya doing my counter-terrorism, if you go to that road, that Agadez, yes, that Agadez desert.
Agadez, I know Agadez.
Agadez. Yes, Agadez. That was where, in fact, during the sandstorm, my brother, you cannot stand. You have to wear goggles in order to protect your eyes. You have to wear goggles to protect your eyes from the sandstorm. And once the sandstorm starts, if you don't know the terrain very well, you will miss your way.
You will know, because in the desert there is compass. So
yes,
compass and
so most of the those people from Niger all the way to Libya, they are through the Agadez desert. They know their route. But me, as a novice that doesn't know the terrain, I cannot go there without compass, without direction. You understand? We met dead bodies that died due to dehydration.
Yeah.
When you pick the dead bodies intact, the body, everything has dried. You pick them, it's like you are picking an inflated football leather, an inflated ball, very light. These were human beings. It might be our cousins, might be our brothers, aunties that were struggling to seek for greener pastures outside. And that would tell me early 80s and 70s. Tell me the number of Nigerians that were going away, jackpying to European countries to seek for greener pastures, if not for the wickedness of these leaders that you have there. Just imagine someone, up to today, I don't know whether they have mentioned the name, 700 and something thousand, 700 and something duplexes in Abuja. Owned by one person.
Former CBN governor owns it.
Yeah, owned by one person. Owned by one person. Whereas somebody is looking for, let's say, 100,000 naira to undergo dialysis. 100,000 naira, they cannot pay minimum wage. 100,000. Someone is building, using his power and opportunity as a government official to build 750 something or 80 something duplexes that he and his family is going to enjoy. That is the reason why I said, in any case, if it will be possible, Mazo Kwacha, when you arrest these corrupt politicians like Emefiele, like any of them right across Nigeria, arrest their families as well, because they saw it, they are accomplices, they are also involved in the criminality that their father, their husband, their uncle, their brother is committing against the Nigerian people. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. What a wonderful analysis. What a wonderful one. All right. Let's go back to our callers and have our last call here. Hello, good morning, sir.
Hi, Mazi Okota. Good evening from here. This is Prince Ike calling. I want to appreciate you once again for the good work you are doing.
Thank you.
I also want to appreciate your guest, Mr. Awibon.
Yeah.
You know, I see the topic you guys are discussing, which is about Soludo indirectly stopping the release of Nnamdi Kanu. So I just want to say something here, which most of us often forget.
Okay.
And that thing is this: we must not forget that no Igbo politician will stand for the freedom of their people. The reason why I'm saying this is this. Yes, sometimes or most of the times we say, oh, they are being wicked and all that. All of the politicians from that angle has been captured. None of them have that mind again, because they will be given terms. There are areas which they cannot go. Yes. The reason why I'm saying this is this. You remember again, last week, was it last week, you were talking about, you brought a program which Sowore said there is a secret memo.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that if Sowore, being a Yoruba man, and the government is cautioning him, telling him, beware of the Igbos, you cannot do this with them, do you think they cannot do more than that with the politicians?
They can.
So, good. That is to tell you, all of them, they are caged. They cannot represent the Igbo man. They cannot represent the Biafrans. That is the reason why the only thing we need is our freedom. This is my own perspective. That is the way I see it. And I believe other people know that this is a fact.
Yeah.
So all these politicians, because of their own personal interests, they go into politics and they are giving condition. That condition they are giving, they cannot go against it. And once they go against it, the government will come against them. So these are the things that are happening. So Soludo has already revealed himself before the people. And I'm saying this to some of our people that easily forget. Today they will tell them, oh, just to tell them those things that is going to make them to feel happy. People should always use their brain. They should be more educated. It doesn't matter what somebody is promising you that is going to make you happy. If that thing is not, if you look at the person's, should I say, his track record, if it is not inconsistent, if it is not consistent, you shouldn't even have anything to do with that person.
Okay.
So that is just my own take about this. All of them. It is not Soludo. Soludo is just the one that is open. Most of them are working against Nnamdi Kanu and our people. But I can tell you the fact and the truth. It is all over. It is all over. It is not going to continue like that. And they are only doing that to their own family and generation. Because people will always remember how you sold your people. Like you said, I think either you or Awibon was saying, you said the Fulani, that is the truth. They will value Nnamdi Kanu more than any of these people. Because any man that is able to sell his own people can never be trusted. So I thank you for the good work you are doing. And I pray that God will continue to give you the grace. And my regard to your guests too. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate. Thank you so much and have a nice evening.
Okay, you too.
All right. So, Mr. Wimborne, thank you so much, sir, for tonight's program.
Yes,
so we're already here for
before,
about 2 hours.
Yes, before I go, Mazo Kocha, I cannot stop, thanking you for what you are doing. You are very strong, and you are a very resolute man. And I love the courage in you. In fact, I don't
think I am. You think I am strong?
Yes, you are strong. Because if you are not strong, you will not be doing this. Do you know the number of people that might be, thinking on how to attack you, and God will not allow them to attack you? You will be safe and you will be protected, my brother. For saying the truth, of the happenings in that country, you will be safe, and God will definitely have a way to protect you when the enemies come. You see, I would like to use this opportunity to tell my people, we have found out that Nigeria is irreworkable. In the words of Nnamdi Kanu, Nigeria is irredeemable. Nigeria is irredeemable. All the things that great song of Biafra land spoke about are happening today. Simply because he is from the Igbo extraction of Biafra, nobody recognizes what he is, what he said in the past. You see, for those people that are, that doesn't want to, that are keeping him, because I listened to one pastor before. The pastor said, the same pastor that said that I saw Nnamdi Kanu from UK back to Nigeria. The same pastor also said that Nigeria will be disgraced with the case that they have gone to. And the worst thing they did was to go and kidnap him from there. Do you know the biblical terms? The Bible said that woe unto that person that will into his hand or through his or her hand, the prophecy will be fulfilled. It is better that that person is not born. That is what is going to happen to these people. There is no peace for the wicked. And a country that have the temerity to level the barrels of gun on innocent civilians like the Lekki toll gate. That leveled and, tend to prosecute young teenagers that flew flags. That senselessly fired innocent and unarmed agitators. Some of them, their bodies were flowing in a Zoo River in Anambra State. Till today, the report and the commission of inquiry they conducted, nobody knows the head and tail of that commission of inquiry. Nobody is held accountable for the buying of those innocent people that bear no arms. Till today, I don't think that God is going to bless such a country. I don't think that God is going to bless such a country. people that embellish lies, people that encourage lies, people that sleep with lies, people that romanticize lies. God will never allow such country to move on. Look at what is happening in Mazo Kocha. During Goodluck Jonathan's time, if my memory serves me right, the GDP of Nigeria was over 500 and something $billion. Number 21 or 22nd in the world, biggest economy in the world. Today, I think they are number 4. Number 4
in Africa.
In Africa, and with over 130 something million people under multi-dimensional poverty. More than half of the population of that country are poor, multi-dimensional, not just poverty, multi-dimensional, whereas the political leaders are there in the National Assembly singing hallelujah all the time. God is not going to bless such a country. God will never bless such a country. That country is going to come to a halt, and God will punish that country for what they have done, for not apologizing even in the Asaba massacre. Asaba massacre, my brother. People came out to embrace you. You level your barrels on them, just like they did at Lekki and the rest of them. God will not bless such a country. I want my mother's ancestral home to be delivered from this evil entity called Nigeria. That is my promise, and that is my prayer. And I believe that God is going to do it for us. If they like, they should keep Mazen Nnamdi. If they like, they should keep Mazen Nnamdi Kanu there. Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is just a person. He has done his due diligence, he has done his job, and there are lieutenants and adjutants that are going, no matter how many people they arrest or detain, the fight will go on. I just pray for unity among them, and let's move on and fight for what is best for us. When we go home, Mazo Kocha, if you've been Nkume, anya apoya na tai. In the name of Nkume. Obrugodi Nkume, no shishi, anya na apoya na ata. As long as we are in our father's ancestral home, your father's ancestral home, and my mother's ancestral home. Thank you so much, Mazi Namuchi.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate. Thank you so much, sir. All right, viewers, I really appreciate tonight. Thank you so much for joining us in this wonderful discussion. Wish to see you tomorrow morning on another program. Have a nice evening and enjoy this song.